Thank you so much for joining me. This is Esther with My Money Matters, and today we're going to be making some clear money wallets. So I'm inspired by Planning with Ella, who made something very similar, and so I'm taking a lot of my tips from her. So the great thing about these pockets is you can make them yourself with laminating sheets, but I've just added this lovely vellum in the bottom half. I've gone ahead and created my labels on Canva, and again Ella gives you all the measurements. They're 17.3 by 2 centimeters. Now mine came up a bit shorter. I think it just depends on your printer and what happens with that. So I'm cutting down my vellum, which is like a thick tracing paper, and this measures 4 centimeters by 16.5 centimeters. Then I'm trimming down a piece of the laminate sheet. You want to cut off the curved edge, not the edge that you're going to run through your machine. And then I'm going to turn it so it's portrait and cutting it at, what am I cutting at? 17 centimetres by 8.5 centimetres. So if you just cut the longest side off first and then turn it, and you can cut and get 3 separate pockets out of the sheet. So turn it back and cut it along the short side so you get your pockets. Hopefully that explains it. Sorry, I was trying to fit in the measurements. Then in order to make the pockets, you want to turn the sheets around so you get the 2 glossy sides which are matching together. Now my tip for this is to use a Pritt stick. If you've got labels and things that you don't want to shift around in your laminate, then you can use Pritt stick. Just grabbing my vellum and I'm just sticking these two together. If it will stay a little bit fiddly and sticky on the old fingers, but I'm just trying to put the edge of the laminate along where my label is, so then I can go and adhere that onto the laminate sheet. So the glue doesn't actually show through once it's laminated, and because it's clear it doesn't show through, but it really helps that label to stay in place when you're coming to run it through the machine. So use that to stick it down, make sure it's nice and firm. I'm just going to show you again how to make these pockets. If you turn one side over and stick them together, it helps you to remember which way round they should go. So pull them apart and turn one round. Once again, just showing you how to do the labels. So I've glued the whole strip of the label, sticking it to the vellum, making sure it's in place, and then putting the vellum, I was going to say the vellum along the bottom of the laminate pocket. Grab yourself another sheet. Now the first pocket to go in, you want to make sure it's upside down. So have your laminate sheet across you like this. I've just got a piece of card underneath so you can see what I'm doing. And you want to tuck it right into the pocket itself. This does get a bit fiddly because the pockets do tend to then slide around, so just tuck that in as best you can. Now I did realise that my label was a bit wobbly there, so I've just fixed it. You want to make sure that you've got a gap at the top because this is where you're going to hole punch. That's why we're going to do it upside down to maximise the space in our laminate sheet. Kind of fiddle around a bit, you need a bit of space. It is a bit tight for these two, but you will manage. You don't want much of a space in between because you're going to chop that off to open the pocket anyway. The third pocket comes up next to these two, and again you want to space underneath it because that's where you're going to have room for the hole punching. So then lay down the top of the sheet, make sure everything stays in place, keep it nice and firm and flat. Inevitably something moves. Very typical when you're trying to do this. I don't know how people do this for a living, honestly. And then I'm just going to whiz this through my laminating machine. I'm just using the card underneath just as a support. I'm not actually running the card through itself, but just to get it going and to try and keep it nice and flat as I feed it through my machine. You may notice that these are different pockets. I did the wrong size for the first pockets initially and cut it at the wrong length, so I'm just showing you again with these others. So just trimming it down the sides as closer as I can get, but just be careful not to take off too much laminate because you want that binding to stay. And then the width of the pocket, I'm just going to show you, you can open these up now, which is so cool. I love that. The width that I'm going to is 9.5 centimetres, which I found is about the right amount to then hole punch. Now I am a bit close to the edge on this particular one, but I've just done a spare one. So again, just opening up that gap at the top by cutting a slither off the top half. You've got a nice open pocket there. Trimming off the sides as close as you can get, but don't get too close, and then cutting down to 9.5 centimetres. So just showing you again in a sped up version. Once you get the hang of it and you've done it once, you kind of know the drill and you can see how it works. So I've got my 6-hole punch here, and these actually slide in and out depending on what size you need, but I just keep it on the outside for this setting for my personal planner. And then eyeballing the centre, so just look at the edge of each side of your punch, make sure they're level on both sides, and then this will give you roughly the centre of where to punch. And as you can see, that punches nicely, it's missed the vellum and you've got it just on the plastic bit where it's punched out. This one's a bit close, but like I said, it was my spare one, so I'm not too bothered. So just eyeball the rest and it's about right for what you need for your planner. So here they are, my new wallets, ready to go in my binder. I already have one in there already, so I managed to do 6 altogether. And I can just pop them in to join the rest, and here they are. So here you go, this is what they look like with the cash in it, and you can see that the vellum just adds something else to it. Please don't forget to give me a like, and please don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. Hit that bell button for notifications.